Compare functions given algebraically and numerically. Functions can be written in different ways. Here are two different functions. One is represented algebraically by an equation, and the other is represented numerically in a table. How can you compare these two functions? The main features to compare are the initial value and the rate of change. To compare the two functions, remember how to determine the initial value and the rate of change using an equation and a table. The equation y equals negative 2x minus 1 is of the form y equals mx plus b, where b is the initial value and m is the rate of change. In y equals negative 2x minus 1, the rate of change is negative 2, and the y-intercept, or initial value, is negative 1. In the case of a table, the initial value is the output when the input is 0. This shows in the first row. The output is negative 2 for an input equal to 0. The initial value is negative 2. To find the rate of change, you need to look for a pattern in the data. Look at the changes in the input and the changes in the output values. The change in the output is negative 2, and the change in the input is 2. The rate of change is the ratio of the change in y over the change in x, which is negative 2 divided by 2, equaling negative 1. So, to compare these two functions, the rate of change in the equation is negative 2, and the rate of change in the table is negative 1. The initial value in the equation is negative 1, and the initial value in the table is negative 2. Comparing functions represented in different ways allows you to solve real-world problems. Let's look at a recycling center offer in two towns as an example. The recycling centers in Town A and Town B encourage people to recycle by offering a payment for the number of plastic bottles recycled. In Town A, the recycling center's payment for the number of plastic bottles recycled is represented by the equation y equals 0 and 5/100ths x plus 2, where y is the total amount in dollars paid for x plastic bottles. In Town B, the recycling center's payment is represented by the table shown here. Both offers are available for a minimum of 40 plastic bottles. Which town's recycling center offers more for 125 plastic bottles? First, compare the initial rates and rate of changes in both representations. The offer in Town A is given by an equation of the form y equals mx plus b. The rate of change is 0.05 and the initial value is $2. In Town B, the rate of change is the change in y over change in x. The rate of change is 0.75 over 10 equals 0.075. Reverse the pattern to find the initial value. The initial value is 1. A summary of the comparison is shown. In Town A, the payment for recycling 125 bottles is found by substituting 125 in the equation. The amount paid is $8.25. In Town B, the payment for the same quantity is 0.075 times 125 plus the fixed amount 1. The amount paid is $10.38 to the nearest cent. Town A has the greater initial value, and Town B has the greater rate of change. Therefore, Town B has a better payment offer for recycling 125 plastic bottles. When comparing two functions represented in a table and in an equation, the main features to compare are the initial values and the rate of change. If the function is represented in an equation of the form y equals mx plus b, the rate of change is m and the initial value is b. If the function is represented by a table, the rate of change is the ratio of the change in y over the change in x. In the given table, the rate of change is 3/4 or 0.75. To find the initial value, reverse the pattern to obtain the input 0. The corresponding output y is the initial value. In this table, the initial value is 12.